I am back for round 2. I don't give up. And last broadcast was an absolute tank. I totally failed last broadcast. I think I did better because my whole life is doing better. The broadcast did not go so well. I'm going to try again. Hello, how are you? What's going on, Tony? Trini, welcome on. Thanks for your followers. Everyone, as you're coming in, say hello. Long time no talk. Hi, Miles. Hey, Patrick, how's it going? Good to see you. I've been supporting you guys for several years. Well, Tony, I appreciate your support. Thank you. All is well now, a little bit better, a little bit better. Good to see you too. How have you been doing lately? As hard as it may be to believe. I got this way because of just whatever. Oh my God. You know, whatever. Like it's more important than life itself that I conform. Well, screw anybody that cares more about me conforming than being alive. I'm just appalled and disappointed. I'm letting it go, but it's taking me a minute. Oh. And if it wasn't you, it wasn't you. That's kind of my point. I'm trying to stay on top of it. There's a lot to stay on top of. Thank you. Thank you for the continued support. Yeah, I guess that's something I should say is if you're out there and I snap, assume that it's not you. If you feel that it's not you, more than likely it's not you. So don't take it personal. I'm getting through a lot of stuff right now and it's not narcissism. When you hurt someone this bad, it's not narcissism. Okay? There's only so much a single human being can handle. Only so much. Adapting to change. Yes. Yes. I am tired of reinventing myself daily. I've at least expanded it to like weekly or monthly. It's much harder when I'm live, but I'm working on it. Okay, you don't deserve a voice in my life. That's how we're going to do that from now on. It's so hard not to block people. You know, like I want to just say goodbye, but then people get all paranoid and they're like, oh God, I shouldn't talk. He's going to block me. Well, how about when you're mean to somebody? What are you going to do? Here's what I'm going to say. To every person that continues to torture me, you are weak. And I don't actually enjoy that you are being sucked up by the internet and your life is ending and you're not even noticing. And the more I tell you, the less you listen. But you know what? It does become really hard not to enjoy it when people have no problem shaking up my brain. You know, I'm not that kind of guy, but you don't know how much I've been through. It's really hard. I feel really guilty. I feel extremely guilty for having any emotional enjoyment in the destruction of people, even when they're like the most like pathetic insects on the planet that are barely human. You know, they're still human. They're still human, and I value that they're alive. But man, it does get pretty darn difficult to stay compassionate towards them especially when they're like, hey, I'm a pedophile, notice me, I need friends, I need help, my parents didn't like me, but oh well. Like, my parents didn't like me either. Get the hell over it. Nobody likes me. Get the hell over it. Could be such a miserable piece of crap because the internet's watching and you're far more paranoid than I am. I'm on the winning team. And oh my God, is that the best part of it? The sweet victory is being on the winning team. Oh man. But I really care. I do. There's nothing I can do. And that's that. Nothing I can do. And they'll literally, guys, can you help me wrap my brain? Can you please actually help me? I'm going to ask you for help. Will you please help me to wrap my brain around that people are finding enjoyment in their inability to change, in their inability to be human? Please help me to understand. As plenty of narcissists before, the narcissists I've had in my life have said to me, please help me understand. Total BS. When someone asks you to help them understand, 9 times out of 10, it is, please explain to me your perspective so I can prove you wrong. No, I'm actually asking to understand that pathology so I can be more compassionate, slow down, be calm, and care more. I want to be nicer. It's really hard because it's really hard to understand how someone could be like that. But if you help teach me, I might be able to get better at it. Being a little nicer to the worst people on the planet. I'd like to be nicer. But we can't get over it. That's the point. You don't get over a human being. It doesn't matter how bad they are. You don't just get over it. Whatever little piece of humanity we decide to toss away is a part of ourselves we toss away too. It's not just a philosophy, it's a life practice. Look at what a narcissist you are. How do you think you got there? And not even notice that you are one. That's how it happens. I've been there. I've been there. You've seen it. Block, 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 toss, toss, toss. I'm getting the drama out of my life. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I don't play with people. I don't mess with people. I know I've done it. But what I mean is it's not who I am. I've had my integrity challenged and questioned. I've had to work really hard to get here. But it's not the answer either way. You miss my car scopes. I'll tell you what, I miss my car scopes too. I miss the days when people were nice to me. I miss the days when people weren't attacking me because I began to make a paycheck. As I traveled the country and it was a good time and I wanted to share it with everybody. But no, God forbid there's anything good in this world that doesn't belong to you. You know? Rob me of my life because I'm happy. Starve me of love, affection, friends, family, my voice. And I ended up happy anyway. And now those people are even more tortured by it. And that's not my fault or my responsibility, but I do care about them. I always did. Mini ravioli or SpaghettiOs? I much prefer mini raviolis. I love mini ravioli. What do you like, Kat? What kind do you like? All right, Steve, you're literally, dude, you're better than this. It's so petty. Just grow up like I had to. Like you're saying to me, you take the turn, you grow up too. Tell me what's up. Life is good. Things are going well. They may not look like it when I get on screen as usual, but they're going pretty darn well. Better every day. How are you and how is your life? Mr. Travolta. No, I didn't. And I shouldn't even laugh at that. So, no. Wow, I'm waking up. I'm waking up. I don't know these people. I do not regret having you guys in my life, though, because a lot of you have taught me lessons on purpose and on accident. You have to stay on this side of the screen now, and you're going to have to accept that. But I am grateful for everything you taught me. that is part of why I'm not leaving the screen or Periscope. Another big piece of that is I have to be able to face this and get better. So it's going good. I'm glad to hear it. Have that moderation on. Well, you are not the end all be all and the judge of how Periscope runs and how life runs. And most people that I've been listening to don't even run their own lives well. So there are people who've taught me lessons, but there are a lot of people who I've listened to who their lives are absolute crap. And I've been listening to them on how to live life. And yes, I only took the nuggets as best as I could, but it sure did affect how I felt about life and how I saw it. So being humble is admirable. Yes, being alive is preferable if humility has to be sacrificed. And sometimes when we don't know better, it does have to be. That's what people don't understand, because when you haven't faced situations that are life or death, sometimes being proud is the only option you have. When people are questioning my reality and telling me that it's better that I die, it's sometimes better to be prideful and be proud of your own reality, even if it's not the total truth. It's the best you've got. It's all you've got sometimes. Whoever can relate to that is going to understand. So how are you? To each and every one of you. You say you don't want me to just talk about myself and that I'm full of myself and just talk about me. Well, I don't hear you talking about you. And then you wait for me to ask questions and you'll just answer with my favorite color is cyan. All right. People just try to get in my head and say that they're trying to relate to me or understand. Just tell me about you instead of being so obsessed with me and then telling me it's just about me. And I'm also seeing there are people that I'm probably going to have to get a restraining order against in real life. And that is a spooky thought. I just wish I would have faced this years ago. I didn't want to admit that people could be legitimate psychopaths and then be trying to paint me as one. I didn't believe it existed. No offense, but it was pretty hard to wrap my head around that people could just not be able to see reality at all. And I know I've been negligent of parts of reality, but not the entire reality, not to the point of impossibility. It may have seemed so, but there were a lot of people who were facilitating that inability to see. But on my own, in my own time, without a whole lot of exterior influence, I'm a pretty rational guy. Doing well, trying to stay healthy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Yes, I'm doing better every day. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Where are you from? Rockstar Party. Good, thank you. Glad to hear. What are my project goals right now? They are none of your business because you've been massively disrespectful to me and you were verbally abusive earlier today. I'm not interested in having a conversation with you. I would like you to stop talking to me. You're welcome to enjoy the show, but you are very insulting to my existence right now because of how you treated me. If you'd like me to talk to you again, then you can start being a human being to me and not just interrogating me and then verbally abusing me when you feel like it, just so you can get whatever it is that you want from me. When you be respectful to me, you'll regain my respect. You had it to begin with. This is how I treat everybody. In the beginning, you have my respect. People disrespect me and then say, hey, the very next word I say to you, you're now going to be nice to me, or I'm writing you off as a narcissist. No, you coming off at me in the beginning, narcissistically with an attack, not knowing anything about my past other than what you've seen, which is minimal. You're not going to have my respect, and I'm not going to be nice to you when you're mean to me. Maybe I will in a tweet because I have a couple of seconds to think it through and be a little nicer. But in real life, this is real life. It's transparent. You know, I'll try to poise things as best as I can. I'm still a realist and I'm transparent about it. Not going to fake it. But when I'm on Twitter, I got a minute to think about what I have to say. I want to be nicer. But you can't expect me to be the nicest guy in the world while you attack me in real time. You tell me you can do that, you know? And if you can, I worry for you because to be able to handle narcissistic psychopathic attacks like in real time for views or whatever the agenda. Especially when you do care about the person, you're not sociopathically ignorant of their, I have empathy. I have empathy for people. And so when people attack me, it hurts me. It makes me upset. So it's a lot harder to face in real time. But I can do it on Twitter. So if you want to tweet at me your questions, be a little nicer to me for a while, maybe I give you another shot. But when you're here live with me, I'm the real deal. And I care a lot about you, and I struggle with staying poised about this stuff. So as I get better, you're just going to have to handle it, because I can't give you more than I have. And this is who I am. If you like me, you do. If you don't, you don't. That's all I have to offer. Life is all about stages. Everything is a stage. Just try to make the most of it. In America, it is not all of life. It took a very large amount of effort to burst through that belief that life is a stage. It is not an American thing alone. It actually has to do with certain pieces of the American way that people get trapped in, and they stay within that belief system. Some might call it psychopathy, but I'm moving beyond that. So for me, I see a stage, and I would love to dance on it to make the money, so then I can go and be away from the stage and show people who I really am, and hopefully that content can help them to feel a little bit better about who they are and how they feel about themselves. But you're not going to feel better about yourself as long as I'm on screen with the picture painted this way. I've been turned into a verbal weapon, and it's just, I'm doing my best to switch it back. But I have a pretty good feeling that the further that I try to be the good guy, the harder people are going to paint it to make it look like I'm not. So, they want me to be the good guy or the bad guy. And in my life, I'm really neither. But welcome to my life. Do you think your behavior throughout this last year was normal? Well, define normal. Was it average? Yes. Something also the average American does not want to accept. The way I acted over the last 12 months is the American average right now. People just don't want to admit it. The analytics say so. The algorithm says so. People's behavior says so. The comments say so. The way you treat each other on social media says so. Yeah, the way that I acted over the last year is very average. It is actually above average. Hate to break it. Is it normal? Not at all. You didn't ask me if it's average, but when you ask me a question, you're going to get my answer. And that's my answer, is the full answer. I answer what you're asking and also what you're saying, because I've learned to pick up on the hints of what people mean when they say something. Because I used to take people on their word. I used to take them literally. I've learned to look through just what they're saying and also see what they mean. And I answer both questions, because a lot of people have like a split personality, and then they tell me that I'm crazy and that's not happening. But it's pretty clear that oftentimes people will say normal, they mean average. They'll say average, they mean normal. And when I've spent years with the same people in my broadcasts, it gets pretty easy to tell who means what. Be safe. Thank you very much. Did I get an apartment? Yeah, I have a home, which is good. Yes, a safe roof over my head. Consistent meals, consistent rent, all of the amenities that other people consider necessary and vital. When, if I decide to live myself, they are not necessary or vital. But when there is community and other people, especially when they're unhealthy, those exterior amenities do become necessary. I see that now. Thanks for teaching me. Be careful what you wish for of getting me to agree with you, because I'm going to see more than just what you want me to see. And then I'm going to bring it right back to you. And I say that with love, by the way. I'm not saying that with, no, not you. I'm not saying that with just malice, guys. I am being satirical about it, or at least I'm attempting to be satirical, not aggressive or just sassy about it. I care about you. I'm grateful for what you've taught me. But I'm also saying is that I've learned more than one lesson, and I'm right and you're right. And we're not right in different ways. There's just more complexities to it. I'm from Colorado. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I would love to live in Colorado. Colorado is gorgeous. I had to come in. Okay. You'll be all right. And people say, here you go. You said, I've seen this episode a dozen times. Who keeps coming back? All right. As my broadcast is full of people asking for the manager, you'll say that you don't like it, but you're here every time. You'll tell me how much you don't like it, but you keep coming back. I'm high as a giraffe's neck, so I'm doing splendid. Good for you. Good for you. Oh, there's 76. Okay, we're going to catch up. Well, you just keep watching. Don't know what else to tell you. It's beautiful here. Thank you. Well, hopefully I can come back one day. That comment is abusive. Please don't say that. I've been through a little bit. It's okay, though. Catherine, welcome on. Good to see you. How are you? Thanks for being so active on Twitter. I really appreciate that. Life happens. Boy, does it. Boy, does it. I'd probably be able to get through what I've been through a lot easier if I'd be less empathetic. But I am very, very stubborn when it comes to my humanity. It's something I'm refusing to give up. I'll tell you, I was at the grocery store today, and there was an elderly man who was walking in, and he reminded me very much of my pop. And it was so simple for him. He looked at me, he said hello, I said hello, and that was it. That's it. And the look on his face was peaceful. It's a good life. How you doing? And as I was walking down the street, there was another elderly man who looked at me, and he said hello. It's a beautiful day today, isn't it? I said, very, sir, very. And we both smiled and walked on. And I'm very grateful for that, because after the broadcast earlier today, that was really difficult for me. You guys saw how difficult that broadcast was for me. And I'm sure it was for you too. Thanks for sticking around, those of you who did. But going and talking to those elderly men, and you're not talking to them, but passing by, and they acknowledge my existence, I acknowledge theirs. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm being normal enough that they are just saying hi to me, right? I'm not lost in delusion in my phone. My phone was in my pocket and I'm walking. And it was a normal walk after such an out of this world broadcast. So that's proof to me, evidence like, oh, okay, I'm coming back to reality. And they weren't like, oh God, hey, how you doing? Like worried about this young man type thing. It was like, hey, confident young man, the way that I used to get when I was like a teenager and a little bit older. So I'm definitely coming back to normal and healthy. I'm getting a lot healthier, which I'm super happy about. So even with my job, even with my job and here talking with you guys, I'm glad to be coming back to reality and getting it sorted. You're messing with me about Tybee Island. Messing with me. What did I have for dinner? I had yogurt. I had a lot of yogurt. I don't know why I was craving it. I was just craving the yogurt. I had a whole lot of yogurt. What did you eat for dinner? Wish you well. Thank you. How are you doing? It's not that I'm still not well. I'm doing a lot better than even I was back then. Wait, where is Tybee Island? See, the difference between back then and now is way back then, I thought I was doing well. I thought I was doing well, and no one had really questioned me on it yet. And then they did, right? And I went through all that process, and now I am actually getting better. Whereas back then I was really, really trying to sell it, but not consciously. Like I really thought I was doing well when I was just hyped up. I was super hyped up, like super, like I was actually manic, right? As I was like, wow. But I clearly wasn't healthy. When I was in that car, let's clarify, guys, okay? Because 2016 is where I would call, 2015, 2016, I would call borderline mania, denial of reality and mania. 2017, 2018, 2019, I would call caffeine and sugar high. And I mean that much, all right? Salt, sugar, fat, constant fear, constant attacks from society, from you guys, no offense, those of you who did, those of you who didn't, sort yourselves out. But I would say it was just all of that and me not being able to process or piece together that's what was happening. And then now it is me legitimately facing my fears, and it's difficult. It's a difficult thing. So. A lot less paranoid these days. Yes. Yes. Much less paranoid. Much less. Like I said, some things were paranoia, some things weren't. Some things are paranoia, some things aren't. I am learning to sit back and start to sort through what is and what isn't, and I clearly haven't gotten all the way through that yet. There are some people trying to stop me from being able to get through it for the sake of hiding themselves, and they don't see that them laying off is what's going to get me to like just be done with it. So I think everyone's starting to get the point, or at least it seems so. Let's hope. Yes, the camera is currently potato. Better than none. Tybee Island is in Georgia. Okay. All right. Well, I feel better now, and that's what I needed. I needed confirmation that I've been doing better. And this whole day as a whole, I would say it's about a 65% success, I'd like to say. Today as a whole was about a 65% win. It would have been a 95% win if I hadn't gone live. And that's not an excuse not to go live. Got to do my job. So good to see you guys. I will continue to increase my success rate as I continue to be successful here and talking with you and getting to know you. I don't want to end the broadcast just because it's on a good note about me being on a good note. I would like to hear from you guys and about you. That's up to you. If not, then we got to buy. So you want to tell me a little bit about you? I can ask specific questions if I get to know you a little bit. That's going to take both of us opening up a little bit, though. Mind and body in fight or flight for a prolonged amount of time is dangerous and terrifying. Yeah. Oh, boy, yeah. Yeah. Thank you for keeping it real. I'm doing my best. I'm also terrified of being framed and also people putting me away. That's scary. It's scary because people only have pieces of the information. And I'm finding out that might be all they need. That's a scary thought. But I'm doing my best just to stay on top of it and realizing that just like in the beginning, me staying healthy, improving my health is going to be the best evidence in my favor. Or at least I hope so, that that's not another trap. But doing my best. Come a long way, young man. Thanks for inspiring. Thanks for feeling that that's how it is for you. Like, no offense when I say if that's the truth. I've had so many people lie to me. But if that's true sentiment, I'm really, really glad if that means something to you. It makes everything that I've been through worth it. It doesn't make the mistakes I've made worth it ever. But such is life. Well, that's that, Steve. says, don't let me stop you from doing your job. That is where it steps between the job and the personal life, which is an area that I've often struggled with. Is I know this is my job. At the same time, you all mean a lot to me. And it's not you all, you're my fans. And no, it's each individual person. I look at you. I've always done this. I look at you. It's your personality. But then people are like, whoa, you're on social media, bro. All of a sudden, like, hey, this is a wall here, not just a boundary. I'm like, oh, I didn't know we were supposed to fake it. That's not how I live. Too bad. Like, don't step into my personal atmosphere in business and then expect me not to have a personal reaction. I care about you and I care about myself. So when you come at me on a personal level with professional intent, all you're going to get from me is personal, not professional. So that's who I am. That's part of why I am able to keep coming back. Thank you for scoping. It's so hot in California. I'm trying to stay cool. I'm hearing about it. You know what? Actually, let me say this. I'm glad that you're happy. Patrick, are you happy and healthy with everything going on over there? Because I hear with COVID, you guys are getting it some of the worst. And there it is. That's okay. Anyone is allowed to question me. It's my choice whether or not I answer, and how my response comes out is also up to me. And that's the part that people don't seem to want to accept, including you. That's right. You do have a right to question me. That's right. You don't have the right to an answer. That's the part that you don't seem to be getting, is question me. That's right. You don't have the right to an answer. That's the part that you don't seem to be getting, is that you think because you ask a question, that means you deserve an answer. When you treat someone like crap, you're not going to get it. I've learned that the hard way. Sitting here wondering why people weren't nice to me. I was mean too. No wonder they shut me out. I'm also kind of glad, because the people that shut me out weren't the greatest people in the world anyway. They were pretty darn mean to me. I don't know that I would want to learn from them. I was willing to learn from anyone, and that might be my biggest problem. That I was willing to learn from anyone. Well, I picked up some bad habits too. I learned a lot. And guys, when I say I have learned a lot, like, whoa, have I learned a lot. But at what cost? At what cost? Was it really worth it? As I sit here, truly, I would say no. Truly, I would say that I would take a half step back. If I had a choice, I would take a half step back and just have been a bit more patient and hopefully found people who are a bit more healthy to learn from, more than likely. Praying for peaceful thoughts. Hello again from Biloxi, Mississippi. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate the prayers. I appreciate the prayers for peaceful thoughts. My thoughts are mostly peaceful. Fear comes mostly through the emotion. I'm doing my best to keep my thoughts on track, and it is really helping to reestablish my feelings. The prayers are huge and very appreciated. I think prayers have played a really, really big part in me getting better, because after everything, well, even when everyone else did leave me behind, and I kind of had to leave them behind too, must be prayers, because what else was there? I did push myself through, but realistically, if you guys were here with me, there's a lot of experiences you still don't know about yet. And I love to share the stories with you in the future. But there were miracles that have happened since we all last spoke. Or last really shared things. So I'm very grateful for that. For whether it's God, or maybe there's bigger people with plans, whatever the case, or luck. I'm still alive. I'm grateful for that. Just shows how you answer, or if you choose to answer. Well, here's the thing, Steve. Before it gets to the result here, and you should be ashamed to have the intelligence you have and be using it the way you are. Being the level of manipulative that you are is sickening. And it probably explains the size of your platform. The size of my platform has to do with people stepping into my actual life and destroying it. And I don't need to know your story, because of how you're treating me. I'm not interested in your story because of how you're treating me. I treated you nice first. Remember that. On top of that, the way you ask your questions says a lot about you. And you don't have a right to judge who I am based on the way that I choose to answer or not answer when you're asking the question inappropriately to begin with. It says a lot more about you, about how you ask, than it says about me, whether or not I answer. When someone answers a good question in good faith, why don't you ask? I just spoke with a young woman in the DMs today. She asked a kind question, a kind way. There was a comment that looked sincere, and so I took it to the direct messages. I said, hey, what's going on? And it was, just a healthy, casual conversation. Can I trust it? Not yet, but it's a start. But an introduction of, hey, here's an accusation. Now give me answers and I'll pretend to like you. It's not healthy. And I don't do it that way. And if you do it that way, I don't know you. I would like to know you, but I know that either way, I don't really know you, and you're just siphoning me for information or views or whatever the hell you want. And that's not worth my time, to put it as politely as I can. It's not worth my time. You are worth my time, but you're not coming to me to get to know me or me get to know you. You're cutting it off at, where's the information? And then telling me that I'm the one being inhumane, and I'm not. You're not even granting me an opportunity. You're just saying, explain yourself or I don't like you. So, okay, well, I don't know you. It's like paparazzi walking up to me with a microphone, and I'm nobody. Don't interrogate me and expect me to be your friend. It's kind of crazy. It's really hard because I don't have AC. I wear a mask when I'm outside. Guys, what do you know about the carbon filter masks? Do they really make a difference? Because I hear a lot about the regular masks affecting people's health in a big way, that people are getting sick from breathing back in their own breath a lot more than COVID, and nobody's talking about it. Now, that might be conspiracy or it might be fact, but I don't have credible enough sources to say. But I hear that people are getting really sick from breathing in their own air. And I'm sorry to hear you don't have AC. That's killer, especially with what's going on. Tell us what I've learned. Well, there's some of it. To know more of what I've learned, do your best. Try to ask specific questions if you really do want to know. Not because I think I'm so special and I deserve for you to think for me. But if you're asking me the question about me, it is fair for you to form the question that you have for me, that I shouldn't, be just like expelling all my information without specific intent. I used to do that, and it was like I literally brainwashed myself, and I just started, and I'm still there. So specific questions will make everyone healthier. Prayer is good. I will pray for you. Thank you. Prayers are an organic plan. Oh, you're funny. Lola, do you have any idea how unhealthy I was at that point? Or no? I don't think you do. Like, I want to assume that you don't know how out of my mind I was at that point. I want to believe that you don't know where I was, because I know there are some people who are unhealthy, but if there are people who are making jokes about what happened in that house, then you're either very mentally ill or you don't have a grasp on what happened, one way or the other. Like, any jokes at all, whether they're about me, whether about the man that was living there, whether it was about the woman that was living there. There is nothing funny about anything that happened the entire, like, day one to end. There's nothing funny that happened in there. And if there's anything you find comical about it, I would recommend seeking out professional help, because it wasn't funny. At least it wasn't to me or anyone else that lived there. We were not laughing, any of us. And we were just trying to figure out up from down. Well, at least I know two of us were. Okay, I know I was. I was the one who was the most trying to figure out up from down. And I know all of you could tell that. At least I hope that you guys could tell that. If not, then you're giving me more credit than I deserve. Here's the full-blown narcissism. Steve, take a walk. I think it's your turn to go take a breath because I'm afraid of you guys. I'm not a narcissist. You're being a narcissist. I'm literally just afraid. There's a big difference between being full of myself and talking about me because I'm scared of you. I'm actually doing pretty well in the broadcast. I'm still waiting to hear more about you guys. Thank you very much. Loving you too says masks have worked for surgeons for years. I wouldn't worry about it. Oh, thank you for that perspective. Cool. And I know I seem overexcited, but it's not overexcitement. It's a breath of fresh air and like cool new information and different thanks for the different perspective. That's really cool. Guys, I really value learning. Call me a nerd, call me whatever you want. I am a glutton for learning. I have definitely found a huge value in learning as fast as humanly possible and as much as humanly possible. So I never thought of that. Surgeons for masks, wearing masks. Thank you. Trolls need to try harder all week tonight. Oh, that does feel very, very good. What I like about coming on Periscope and talking to you guys is I am the most vulnerable and the most transparent, even more so than I am in my real life yet. So it does. It exposes my weaknesses. And even if people see my weaknesses, I see my own weaknesses, which is more valuable to me than anything else. Is if I can see my own weaknesses, it helps me to grow. And I can't fully see them if I'm not facing my biggest fears. And right now, Periscope's my biggest fear. So I'm facing it as much as I can. I'm more scared of Periscope than I am jail. So I'm just facing my fears. The organic lamb. Lola, this is my point. I don't know. I was grasping at everything because I was in denial about the kind of people that were around me in my life. By the time I figured out what they were, I was just like, let's make it the diet. Let's make the diet the end all be all. I like any solution I could find, any quick solution to what the hell was going on. I just wanted out. I just wanted to be just like, guys, I know I'm healthy. I know I'm healthy. What is going on here? And I'm still not all the way there yet because I have to continue to face the platform. I have to work out the rest of my issues and I'll be okay. I did have a lot of people in my life who were setting a double standard. And then the biggest thing was, hey, here's the carrot, jump for it, jump for it, jump for it. And the higher I jumped, the higher they held it. And I figured out, wait a second, I'm never going to get this because the stipulation is that I live their way. I am only allowed to have this carrot, this love being leveraged if I live their way. And I have come to see that I don't necessarily even want to live the way I'm living. I have also learned, though, gratefully, later than sooner, because it exposed a whole bunch of frauds in my life. They weren't me. I thought I was the fraud, and I found out that I wasn't. And now it's just a whole lot of denial from a lot of different directions. I'm owning my mistakes, and as I own my mistakes to people who have wronged me, they are willing to accept my apology on the stipulation that I also shut my mouth and tell them that they were right the whole time. And that's narcissism. And so that's exposed a lot. Everybody, okay? I hate to admit it, but there's nobody in my life right now who is healthier than I am. And that is saying a lot. That is saying a lot. Like a lot. So, yeah, I'm just transparent about the things that I think about. Where where most people just keep them to themselves and, try and get along. I really it is the most important thing for me to get through all this and get this junk out of my head. It's the most important thing to me. A lot of people hide their junk and pretend it's not there. And I don't blame anyone that does that. I'm starting to get why you do it. Makes sense. I get why you hide it from people. I don't blame you. It's just, like I said, for me, I'm the one taking the risk. I want to get better. And so this is what it costs, and that's what it takes. So it doesn't make me better than anybody else. I'm making different choices because I have different goals. I have different values, and I'm going a different, I have a different path. We all have different paths in life. So I live in Canada. Well, welcome from Canada. Thanks for being here, DM Wiss. And whoever's giving the hearts and being nice to me and calming me down, it's working. And you know what? Sometimes love bombing me isn't the worst thing in the world when I do need to chill out. So when there's no other option, sometimes it's all you've got. Sometimes, and then people judge, but sometimes it's literally all you've got. And I've had it done to me. And I will say that, love bombing is a manipulative tactic. Well, guess what? There are times that I have been love bombed that if I hadn't been love bombed, I possibly would have made much worse choices if I hadn't been. Don't try to explain it, right? How do you explain that? You don't. It's just lesser of two evils. It doesn't make it right, but some people don't have the luxury of just making the right or wrong choice. People who don't have the luxury of just making the right or wrong choice are usually the people helping to facilitate an environment where other people do get to just choose the right or wrong choice. And those people get a really bad rap, and I've given them a bad rap, and I'm starting to get the point. The more you know. Yep. Am I going to get TikTok again? In the future, depending on how things go, right now for me, when it comes to TikTok, it's socio-political. I'm being very careful about it. I appreciate that, Kate. I really do hope that's true. That means a lot to me. Being nice to me is definitely going to help me believe that you care about my mental health a lot more than being mean to me. I would hate to say it's irrational to say that being mean to someone doesn't really get them to believe you. If you haven't noticed, it didn't work for me. Didn't work for you. Didn't work for me. It doesn't work. Doesn't work for anybody. Being mean does not convince people of your point, nor of mine. And Kate, you hear my sass and you hear my attitude. Please take it with a grain of salt. I please take it with a grain of salt. Because if you were on my side of the screen, I am vying for the feelings. Yes, I am. There's no excuse for me being mean. There's no excuse for me being sassy. I will agree with that. I'm learning. I am still learning. And when people will say, well, you only get so much time. Well, I still have it apparently, and I'm grateful. You guys have something to do with me still having time. I'm grateful for that. What is happening? Well, I am probably going to eat in a little bit and hang out. Sure. If you're up for it. Do we have stuff? I'm up for that. Surprise, surprise. Thank you very much. Yeah, so about to eat, about to spend a little quality time. Oh yeah, for sure. That'd be great. Is there some pasta left yet? No. The cheese though, little cheese. You throw the cheese in with the eggs. All right. And then anything else you want to eat, you make two of. Have I heard of another broadcaster talking about me? Yes. Yes, I have. When people tag me, it's kind of hard not to notice. When they're like in real life, it would be like screaming in my window and then asking, "Hey, have you heard of me?" Yeah, I have. I have. Invading my privacy. I have heard of you. Kate, I really appreciate that. I am sorry for hurting your feelings and anything that I have done to you personally, any ways that I personally offended you. I have a lot of apologies to make if that's how it's going to go. There are apologies that have to be made that aren't even ready to be made yet. There's been so much hurt here from all ends that it is probably going to take decades to heal. And I mean decades. And people are waiting for the boom solution or just walk away from it. And it's not a real solution for anyone. It's not. It might be for you. It might be enough for you. That's good, you know, and I'm glad on that. But there's a lot more people that are hurt, okay? So it's going to take a bit more time. I'm not going to talk about this endlessly for decades, but I'm saying I will talk about it less and less as time goes forward. You are the people you surround yourself with. Yes, yes. And I'm beginning to surround myself with much healthier people in real life. And I'm doing my best to, you know, make things well with us here. And I'm not, and guess what? Here's something that I don't know if you guys want to hear it or not. I'm going to tell you anyway, because that's what I do. Is the people that I hang out in real life would tell me I'm nuts for hanging out with you. They would be like, why would you talk to them? And they are currently saying, like, dude, don't go talk to them. Like, why bother with them? They're not worth your time. I say, yeah, you are, because I know better, and it's my life and it's my choice. And if they don't want to be with my friends with me because I'm willing to let you treat me poorly, well, who is to judge how I live my life? If you're friends with me, you're friends with me. Don't tell me I can't be friends with somebody else. Because I've told you, hey, I won't be friends with you because you're friends with somebody else. I've learned my lesson. As long as you're nice to me, that's all I really need to be concerned about. I got really, and I want you guys to understand, when I did step over those boundaries, it was because I was afraid. It wasn't because I thought badly of you particularly. It was, okay, there is a person who is destroying my life. You are friends with that person. I am scared of you too. It was always that simple for me because I didn't understand the complexities of, hey, I'm just watching this person or I find them entertaining. You know, I'm not necessarily involved in what they do, but I do watch them, right? And I still struggle with that. I mean, when someone is actively engaged in negative talk about me in someone else's broadcast or whatnot, and then they come to my broadcast and they're trying to be my friend, I'm just like, I have a really, really hard time with this. And I'm learning how to just be nice and save face and realize that everyone lives their own life and some people engage in gossip and some people don't. But gossip is something I really grew up around. It's been something that's been super toxic in my life and also something I've engaged with that's been super toxic for me and for others. And so I'm learning to just be more careful with what I share and how I talk. And I know this is probably commonplace for most of you. And it also, you should recognize how embarrassing it is for me to be having this conversation. You know, I like to the point where I could cry and I'm holding it back. Like, hey guys, I had no idea. It's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. And maybe you're not dealing with that level of social inadequacy and that level of social idiocy, right? But while everyone sat back and laughed at me, I care about you, and I've been trying to learn how to get along. And people are still leaving me out of the club and saying, just figure it out. And I'm like, I do care. No one's inviting me into the circle. You're literally just keeping me out and telling me I'm stupid. When if you let me in and give me a chance, I'm trying to get to know you guys. And I might not want to engage in certain parts of the conversation, but that doesn't mean I deserve to be just left out in the cold. And I've always cared about you guys. And it wasn't just about me or just about you. I just didn't know how to do it. And I still clearly don't do it all that well. But I do care. And sometimes you hear me get angry and you hear me go off. Last broadcast, I'm here reaming out, a certain facet of people. Well, excuse me for struggling with that, right? It's something that is counter to what I was raised on, counter to even, what I believe. And so accepting those people and loving those people is something I have to do. It is very difficult. And it is something that most people, especially in my belief system, they just run from that and ignore those people and say they're bad people. And yes, I am sitting here saying that even those people aren't necessarily bad people. And you have to understand that just like there are creasters and just like there are people who go to church but aren't necessarily super religious, there's going to be people who have a very different church that are also not necessarily hyper religious, but they have that background. And it might be a background that's hyper difficult for us to understand, or at least for me to understand or accept. But I'm a very, very, very open person, way more open than people are giving me credit for right now. I've been doing my best and I'm still doing my best. So anyway. Would I consider doing an interview, not with a channel like that? More than likely not, no. It's not my style. And I mean, like I said, there's a lot of negative associations. And it's just the viewpoint is not like, I want neutral. If I'm going to talk to anybody, I want to talk to someone who's legitimately neutral, as opposed to, hey, I'm neutral, but if you look at the pattern of my content, it's all about this, right? So I'm not necessarily neutral, but when it comes to my story, I am neutral about my story. I'm not even pro me or against me. I really want to weigh out what's there. And I would want to talk to somebody who's going to hear out my side of the story with as much detail as possible. More than likely, no one's going to do that, though, because it's a hefty job. And it's much easier to sweep it under the rug than worry about it. So I'm not really interested in just selling the story, because it's going to twist my narrative, which is going to be something that I have to then go and clean up their mess, and then they get views based on me. And that's just not how I operate. I'm better off growing more slowly. But I appreciate that. I'm also better off just telling my own story and let people think whatever they want than someone painting the narrative poorly for me. Because no matter what, right now, it's going to be painted poorly. There's no way to write this well. Not enough information in anyone's hands. Do you have any good friends in your life? I do. I do. How about you? Why rehash the past? There's a lot of lessons to be learned. Do you want a contextual answer, or are you looking for a simple answer? Do you want one sentence, or do you really want the context? Kate, if you're willing to answer me on that, it's going to change the way that I answer it. Because what I've often done is just answer my way when someone asks me a question, and then they get mad at me. They're like, I didn't need to know that. I didn't. Well, you're asking me the question. How much information do you want? What can you be more specific about your question? Or do you want, when you're asking a general question, do you want that much context? Kate says, I think it's great that you are self-aware of life being a learning lesson. Yeah, I always have been. I did not know that I had this many lessons to learn. I swear to you guys. And it wasn't narcissism. It was just blatant ignorance. There is a difference between being a narcissist and just being ignorant. Okay? And meaning like aggressive, like the way that I was, yes, I was belligerent and I was angry, but it was out of hurt. It wasn't out of like attack. It was out of fear. And there's a difference, because there are people out there who are, aggressive in a way where they want to put you down. And there are people who are afraid of you because you're different. I was afraid of people who are different. That's different than just being blatantly ignorant and aggressive. I've wanted to learn. Let me say that the person who tried to teach me about, I've had a lot of very poor teachers in a lot of subjects. Let me leave it there. And I'm not blaming those teachers. I'm saying I chose poorly. I chose poorly, and then I didn't like what I got, and then I complained. And I didn't have any better available at the time. I wanted to make it a friendship or this or that. And there are a lot of people who strong-armed me into it only being about money, or it only being a lesson, or it only being this, or it only being that, or blur the lines, make it whatever they choose, just to make sure that they control the relationship. And I've given a lot of people control of the relationship we shared, and they took more than I thought they would, where I really thought that they would just say, like, they were honest, like, hey, this is what I want, this is what you want. What I have found is, and you guys know this probably for the most part, but I'm letting you know what I've learned. I'm not like just trying to educate you. It might educate some people. Other people, you're learning about what I've learned. Is it seems to me that 99% of the time when someone says they want nothing from you, my experience has been those have always been the people that have wanted the most are the people who say they want the least. And so when you ask me what I want, I'm pretty transparent about it. And people see that as a sign of distrust or something that they're more afraid of me. And I'm like, when someone tells you they don't want anything from you, I mean, even friendship, right? If I say, do you want to be friends? You're like, I don't want anything from you. I mean, I guess if it ends up that way, people that are that wishy-washy, they freak me out the most because they're usually sitting back waiting to see what they can get. And then whatever looks the best for them is what they choose. And you have to fall into their box. And I've always made the best effort to try and define these relationships. And I didn't become ambiguous about them until my life was under attack. I've always wanted to be as specific as possible. I used to answer all my DMs, and I'm had my first decent conversation in the messages today. First time in a long time. So love life, Jimmy. I do. Sometimes people are only happy when they are watching other people struggle. Do you think they're happy? Do you think other people are happy watching other people struggle? Do you think that's happiness? Because I at least refuse. Maybe I'm in denial. It's possible I'm in denial. But I find it very, very, very difficult to acknowledge the idea that someone could be in a state of happiness watching someone else struggle. See, and this is my points where people start to get skeptical. It was this way years ago. It was just like this in 2017. It was the same way. Things start getting normal. We have decent conversation. And I thought that people were trying to sabotage me. I did not think that people were actually this paranoid. Guys, you're being paranoid about me. And I mean literally paranoid. I am the most innocent person you will ever meet. Why do you think it took so long for me to be that far under attack? It took them years. Let me tell you, the people that were in my life that tried to coerce me into negative behavior, it was no. It was them messaging me 13 times a day. 13. No, thank you. That looks great. It looks super tasty. So yeah, I did go to the point of insanity. I pushed that hard just to stay on top of things. Guys, you're paranoid about me. Just breaking it to you. I care a lot about you. I'm gonna be honest. I got paranoid about you because I mean, why would I even grasp the thought that you'd be paranoid about me or suspicious about me? Now, yeah, I've learned a lot. I get, okay, now I get it. Not about me though. Sorry. I get why you might be that way about other people, but I'm going to let you know that you jumped the gun on me pretty darn hard. And then a lot of people got really embarrassed, really, really freaking embarrassed. And so they kept running with it. They've been running with it for years. Well, I'm putting it down, and I'm really hoping that they're going to choose to. I really do. I am starting to see people putting it down, and I'm like not saying a word. I'm like, okay, good. Okay, good. You know, and they're just like talking to me normal. I'm like, good. Let's run with that. Let's stick to it. It's not worth it. It was never worth it to begin with. Just be true to yourself. You can't please everyone. Thank you. Yeah, I can't please everyone. But whether or not I'm the successful guy, whether or not, you know, considering I did not make it into the military, I have found out a lot of good things about myself. I have learned that I do have a lot of honor, a lot of courage, and I am a very committed man. I have made a lot of mistakes, but I have had to clean up a lot of other people's messes too. And on top of that is also that, how do I say it? True to myself, can't please everyone. I can't please everyone, but no man gets left behind. No man, no woman, no one gets left behind. And that is a very serious thing for me. I mean, to the core of my being, that is a very serious thing for me, because I am the man that was left behind. And I've never been willing to leave anyone behind, and I still haven't. And I have lost people, and I have lost people that I can't get back. And if those people had given me a greater chance, which I did deserve as just, you know, human being, you know, it was so easy to provide, very, very easy to provide it. I definitely could have returned the favor much sooner. But now at this point, there are people who are gone, and I can't return the favor at all. And then there are people who may pass away before I get the chance to pay them back. And I don't know. Or there are going to be people who are so convinced of themselves that they won't want me to pay them back. They're going to say, wow, no, you know? So the worst, I would say something that hurts me far worse than the people who have hurt me are the people that aren't going to let me return the favor for what they've done for me, good or bad, whether they're good people or bad people. There are bad people who have done good things for me, and I want to repay them for what they've done. And I might not even be able to due to their own complexes. And that's just life. And that's really hard for me to let go of, but I'm not in control of it. I'm learning to let go. Thank you, Riley Grayson. Riley Grayson says, Pop told you to turn the other cheek, honor his wishes. Yes, 100%. I am honoring his wishes, and I'm doing my best to turn the other cheek. Thank you for the reminder. 100%. Do you believe you were raised in a narcissistic environment? I was raised in an environment with narcissistic tendencies like most people, but yeah, I was. Yep, I was. Yes, and here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Okay, so Riley Grayson says he was raised in a loving, solid environment that may last for good people. Here's the thing, guys. First off, you are abusing other people's names, which is extremely inappropriate. What I will say with that is, yes, great people. I think we can all say that great people can do bad things. Great people can make poor decisions. It doesn't make them bad people. And bad people can make good decisions. It doesn't make them good people. Or what did I say? Did I say that right? Yeah. Bad people can make good decisions. It doesn't make them good people. And sometimes it can be really hard to sort between the salt and the pepper. Is dinner ready? Yes, it is. And I can eat whenever I so choose. Thank you. And I have a good, healthy environment where I can do as I please. I'm in control of that. And my time is respected. And I provide a massive amount of time that is very much appreciated, which grants me the opportunity to work when I need to work. I am very, very attentive. Very, very attentive. Think about all the time and attention I've given you guys, now put into someone who is my soulmate. I'm doing really well. really well. Kate says, I think that rehearsing the past can often open very big wounds. That's why I asked. Thankfully, I'm not rehearsing the past. You are new to me, Kate. Give it some time. Give it some time. I do say new things. They're just similar because I have a lot of people that I have to keep up with and a lot of people that I have to help keep up. So oftentimes I move very slowly, almost to the point it looks like I'm repeating myself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? In a very similar place. In a very similar place than I am now. I am hoping with at least one child. I am also hoping with at least my debt and my bills on track and being paid off responsibly. I'm hoping and planning for a roof over my head and food in my belly. That may be interrupted by prison. It may be interrupted by institutionalization. It may be interrupted by a bullet to the head. Never know. But those are the least likely options I'm beginning to see. And I'm very grateful for that. I also see there are a lot of people that are facilitating my freedom, who are granting me freedom as I make progress. It is humbling in the weirdest way. It is humbling and creating gratitude in the weirdest way to know that there are other people who do have sway in my freedom. It's like good and bad. Let me say it this way. It makes me feel loved. It makes me feel loved to know that there are people who want to have that much of a say in how my life is lived. It might be like the best way they can do it because they're freaking narcissists, but you know what? I'll take it. It's better than being ignored. So I'm planning for having one child, a beautiful wife, a stable home, a happy marriage, and a good life. That's the plan. I am also being mature and humble enough to make reservations and accountability for my choices, the choices of others, and the life that I live and the career that I've chosen. So there are a lot of variables that I don't have a handle on yet, and that is mostly my fault. So I could have moved much more slowly, and I chose not to. Whether or not I could have done it differently, I guess we'll never know. But I really do know myself very well, and I will tell you that there was no other way this was going to go. You can judge from the outside. Anyone could judge from the outside. It never would have gone any other way. Whether that's good or bad is, I guess, for a judge to decide. That's where I got to leave it. Or the judge be God or in a court. But even when the court decides, we have to remember that's still based on human iniquity. So that's based on evidence, and evidence aren't always facts. Now, Kate, I am behind. So I am 78 comments behind. I'm seeing, okay, so I'm going to shut down for the night because I got to eat and I want to hang out with my spouse here. So everyone have a good night. Thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for talking with me. Thanks for telling me about you. Please know that what you shared with me is huge to me. It's a huge bout of, even if it's not trust for you, it is trust for me. And I have a lot to work on. I'm terrified, but this is worth it. You're worth it. I'm worth it. It's all worth it. And I'm going to have to be the one to prove that. Hopefully I have the chance. Talk to you soon. Lola says, till next time, Jimbo Slices. We'll see you, Lola. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for being as kind to me as you've been. It does mean a lot to me. All right. Bye, everyone.